today I'm going to be talking to you about two different types of carriers, a pouch sling and a ring sling. So they're both pretty similar in that you wear them on one shoulder. They kind of drape across your body. The main difference is one is adjustable and one is not. So this is a pouch sling. It is a tube of fabric. As you can see, it is totally sewn together. It also has a seam that goes down the baby's back. So what you do is you take it and you fold it in half all the way around. And that's how you start off with that. The other carrier is a ring sling, similar in that it's a long piece of fabric, a lot longer obviously, and has two rings sewn on one side. So they both have great advantages and disadvantages, which we will talk about. It's okay. You're gonna go up. So the one thing with the pouch sling, it is great because it is totally fitted to your own body. The bad thing about that is you cannot normally wear it between different carrier wearers. It's a carrier that you would get for yourself and probably use because you have measured it. So the way you want to measure a pouch sling is you're going to take a soft measuring tape. You're going to start at the top of your shoulder and you're going to go down to your hip. So when you're ordering, you're going to take that measurement and that's going to be able to show you which size you need. So if you're pregnant, a way you could do that with help probably is to loosely do it across your back in the seam spot from your top of your shoulder down to your hip. Hi. Okay, so to start with your pouch sling, you've got it folded in half. The part that opens, you're going to put up to the sky. So it just depends on which side you feel comfortable wearing the child. I normally like to carry kids on my right hip, so it's just more comfortable for me to wear them on that same side. So whatever shoulder you're gonna put it on is the shoulder or the arm you're gonna hold it. So I like to wear on my left side, so I'm gonna hold it with my left arm, and I'm gonna slide my arm in and bring that up and over. So you kind of wear it like a Miss United States corsage. See it all spread out here. I'm gonna find that seam, put it in the middle of my body because I'm gonna wear baby in my tummy to tummy position. So I'm gonna go grab him because he is ready. Alright, so this is baby Jackson and he is 4 months old. So the great thing about a pouch sling is that you can wear it with a child in any really size, from a newborn up to a toddler. You don't actually have to get a new carrier. Since it's adjusted to your body, it doesn't really matter what the size of your child is. It is more about you and your size. So to start, I'm gonna take baby and I'm gonna put him in hyper position. I'm gonna take my free hand, reach underneath and kind of guide his feet down. All right, so he's got his knees bent. His knees are making that end position. They're higher than his bottom. This onesie is not buttoned. So then I'm just gonna take the first layer and work that up his back. He's still a little young, so I'm gonna go to his shoulders. And then, as you can see, that bottom layer is on his bottom. So I'm gonna get that nice and fitted for him. Give him that knee-to-knee coverage. And there, as you can see. So this pouch is actually a little big for me, which is okay. If you do have that problem, it is an easy fix. Let's get that fixed. You can do a shoulder flip. So you're gonna take just the top, flip it over your shoulder. You can take this arm and help guide it from the back. So as you can see, he's got a nice deep seat. His knees are higher than his bottom. He likes to lean a little when he's being worn. And he's pretty safe. He's nice and secure in there. So he's looking happy. So this is how you do an upright tummy to tummy in a pouch sling. So to get him out, I'm just gonna lift up on his bottom and kind of pull that up. So that way I'm still holding him, and I can just kind of take it over my head and over his and drop it to the floor. Okay, can I put you down and then I'll put you back up? All right. So that's pouch sling. So now we're gonna try the ring sling. So ring sling, long piece of fabric, 2 rings. So you're gonna notice that certain ring slings have different shoulders. So it's totally personal preference. Some of them are gonna cup your shoulder more. Some of them are gonna go just a little bit higher. So it totally just depends. So the way you start off, and the great thing about this is you really only have to do it, not the first time you wear it, but you're gonna keep your ring sling put together. So you're gonna thread your the fabric through the rings. So you're gonna take the sling, and you can do this a few different ways. You can do it if it was already on your shoulder. You can do it off your shoulder. If you think of it like an old school style belt, you can also do it around your waist. So there are a few ways that you can thread your rings. So you take your rings and your fabric, and you're gonna kind of just fan it and gather all that fabric up. And then you're gonna take your rings, go through once, pull all that fabric over. Then you're gonna separate them, take all that tube, and then you're gonna go just through the second one and then pull that through. So this is actually gonna lock in place. As you can see, it is not moving, which is gonna, how it is actually safe for you to wear. And so you're gonna want to pull this a little bit. Okay, perfect. So same thing as the pouch sling. Whatever shoulder you wanna wear it on is the arm you're gonna start with it. So when you're wearing it, this is the tail. It's all that extra fabric. Whichever side you choose, you want the tail to be on the outside. So again, I like to wear on my left shoulder. So I'm going to start off with my left hand, my extra fabric off to the opposite side. I'm gonna put my arm through, up and over. So you're gonna get it a little bit adjusted. So the great thing when you're using a ring sling is the less adjustments you do, or the more adjustments you do before you get your baby in, the less you do when your baby is in the carrier, which makes it a lot easier. So I'm gonna fan that out. Okay, and the one thing you wanna do before you get started is to check that you have actually put in your fabric correctly. So you're gonna wanna pull on that top and make sure that the other side, that the top, is also going. So if I was pulling this top of my extra fabric and this part was moving, I would know that I had put them, threaded my rings incorrectly, and I would have to start over, that there was a twist somewhere. So you can see it's nice and flat on my back, so I don't have any twists. And then you're also just gonna wanna make sure that there's nothing twisted in here. So you're gonna take your 2 thumbs and find the ends of each fabric. And you're just kinda wanna fan that out also. And you can see that there are no twists. And you can just kind of pull that slack out. Okay. So you want to keep your rings nice and high, kind of in that corset position, kind of as close as your collarbone as you can get. So again, as you can see, the fabric is spread nice across my back. There's no twist. And I want this bottom part to be pretty close to my body. And then enough room in here for baby to go in. A good rule of thumb to judge it is if you can put your elbow in. If you were using a newborn, you would want to have a lot of space here. For a toddler, you would want to be able to spread it out more. And also, if you can put it like to your belly button, that's a good spot to be in. So he has fallen asleep, so I'm going to use my doll for this carry. So this, since we've already shown what it is like to wear a child on your tummy or tummy to tummy upright on your chest, I'm going to go ahead and do a hip carry with my doll. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my doll up. The same thing, I'm going to put him in a hyper position, take that my free hand through the fabric, and then again I'm going to guide his legs down. So I am going to put him on my hip just like I was going to carry him. And this is a really good spot to kind of hang out for a minute. Place that nice tube of fabric on their legs. This is going to help you create that deep seat. This is also a really good spot to make sure that your rings haven't moved. So you can always lift up on baby's bottom, adjust them up a little bit. So he's got a nice deep seat. And so I'm gonna hold onto him with one hand. It's a little bit easier if you start from the back than starting up in the front, just to make sure you don't pull from the wrong side. So I'm gonna start by finding that top piece and work that way up. So he's a little bit bigger, so I can put it up to his shoulders if I wanted to. For a hip carry, it is really important that you're using this carry with a child that has sufficient head control and trunk control. They're not going to be slumping in the carrier. So that's usually about three months. They start getting a good enough head control. Probably you want to wait a little bit longer. You don't want them to be flopping back. So I'll just go ahead and put his arms in. Okay, so as you can see, he's got that nice deep seat in the end position. So now you're going to start adjusting. So it's easier if you bring all the fabric to your rings. That's going to prevent your rings from sliding. So I'm going to bring all that fabric to my rings, and then you're going to pull in the same position, or a diagonal of the fabric. So I'm going to pull straight across my body. And then for this, I'm going to go kind of diagonal, diagonal, and then for the seat, I'm going to reach up. This already has a pretty good amount because I started out with him sitting on that fabric. You're going to want to just make sure, pull up, that there is enough fabric between your bodies. So about like belly button area is a good place to be. And that's what prevents your baby from falling. So you can kind of guide that through, pull it up, and then for the bottom layer, you're just gonna pull straight down. So I'm just kind of checking that if you have like bunches in your fabric up here, then you have some slack in the sling. So each little piece corresponds on the sling. So you can kind of get it comfortable for you. So this is a nice tight ring sling. If he was a little bit older, I could do arms out, just to make sure you have it really tight. So if you're doing a hip carry, like I said, you need to make sure that you have a child that is over 3 months, that has sufficient neck control, that they're not going to be flopping around. If you are doing a ring sling or even the pouch in a front tummy to tummy, you can do that with a really small infant. Sometimes if they want to do legs in, you just want to make sure that they're putting all of their weight on their bottom and not on their legs. So pouch sling and a ring sling and that front carry are basically the same thing. You are just adjusting the rings on this one. So if you always want to push up on baby's bottom, that's how you adjust. And then to get him out, you're just gonna pull up on the rings. So from here, if you wanted to feed the child that you're wearing, so if you're gonna breastfeed or if you're bottle feeding, there are 2 different ways you can do it. So from here, if he wanted to eat and I was breastfeeding, I could just lift up on his bottom, pull the rings a little bit and kind of move him down to get him at breast level. And then when he's done eating, I'm gonna push him back up and readjust. It's really important when you feed baby and bring them down that you always bring them back up. Same thing with a tummy to tummy. You don't want to leave them in a position where they're slumping. A good rule of thumb is the ABCs of baby wearing, so their airway, body positioning, and comfort. So you always want to be able to put your 2 adult fingers under their chin, and you want to keep them in a body position that's appropriate for their age. So if you're using an infant, that would be putting them either legs in or legs out and keeping the fabric all the way up to the nape of their necks. Ring sling and a pouch sling, you want to do that. You want to be able to pull all the way up. If you're using, if your child's a little bit bigger, 3 months and up, you can do kind of to the shoulders. And if you were doing this with a toddler, you could certainly do arms out. They probably want to be flinging around anyways. So to get baby out, the other way actually I'm going to show you how to feed is a cradle carry. So what you're going to do is lift up on that fabric. I'm going to actually bring him around, get him on my tummy. And then from here, I'm going to take the opposite leg of the rings and bring it over and readjust. So I can pull down to get this nice and tight so he's, safe in there. And then from here, I would be able to bottle feed or to breastfeed, depending on which you were using. So as you can see, both of his feet are off to the side. This is a cradle carry. So with this carry, it's really important that you keep them in a check mark position to keep them from slumping. So as you can see, his body makes a check mark. So I could feed, I always like to still keep this arm right here. It's not a complete hands-free carry. So when he was done eating, same thing, really important that you're gonna put the baby back into the position you had them before. So if we were gonna do the tummy to tummy or ring sling, or sorry, hip carry. So I'm gonna lift up on his bottom, kind of readjust him back, create that seat again, and pull that fabric nice and high. And then readjust for tummy to tummy or for a hip carry. So as you can see, he's got nice knee to knee coverage. So we always want to make sure that they're, there we go, in the correct seated position for their age. Like I said, for an infant, and if they're in a narrow carry, make sure that the fabric is just protecting them. A little bit larger of a child, you're gonna wanna have that M position, nice deep seat. M, you can see his body is making an M. So these are the ring sling and a pouch sling. So like I said, advantages of a pouch sling is that you fit it to your body. It is obviously, both of these are really small. You can fold them up and put them in your diaper bag. Pouch slings are relatively cheap, which is great. You could, buy a couple, put them in different areas. It's totally up to you. So disadvantage of the pouch sling is, again, it is fitted to your body, so it's not a great carrier to use between different users. A ring sling is more adjustable. It's really molded to your body. There's still obviously a lot left, so someone else could use this also that might have broader shoulders, a little bit taller, just depending on what body type of wearer you are. A disadvantage is it is on your shoulders. Some people do find that long-term wearers put a little bit more weight on their shoulders, so it just is, but it's great for quick ups. As you can see, that did not take a while to get baby up. To get them down, I would just lift up, pull up on my rings, and then I could slide that fabric over their neck, and then I could take him down. So really important thing with this one also, you want to remember for airway of those ABCs of baby wearing is you wouldn't want to take that tail and cover up his face. If you wanted maybe some modesty for breastfeeding, you could kind of put it on your chest, but you definitely wouldn't want to cover up baby's face. You want them to be able to breathe. So to get this off, if you didn't want to completely unthread your rings, is you could just slide it off. All right. And there you go. So those are a pouch sling, hip carry, and a ring sling, hip carry, pouch sling, a tummy to tummy, and a cradle carry, and which would be a great one to feed your child. And then you would always want to bring them back up. So, all right. Thank you so much, you guys.